Good evening. Welcome to the September 12th Commission on Disabilities meeting. If we could please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could have, Pauline, if you could do a roll call of the members in attendance.
Absolutely. So Ralph DeChico, Chair.
Present.
Pauline Perno, Vice Chair, is here. Jason Barone.
Here.
Mario Gramanis.
Present, right here.
Okay. And we said that Robert Brown will be absent from tonight's meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Asma Alfauda.
She's not on.
Absent. Okay. And Ellie Vargas.
Here, present.
Yes.
Thank you. And Sophia Marmuda, our student liaison.
If she comes in, I will let you know.
Okay, great. That's our guest.
Yeah.
Okay. All present
Okay.
and accounted for.
Perfect. What I have, since the first item number 1 is a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the August 8th, 2023 meeting that I sent to everyone. Hopefully we're able to take a look at it. If there is any errors, just let me know. If there's no errors, hearing and seeing none, if someone could make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our August meeting.
Motion to approve.
A second.
And a second. Okay, Thank you. Okay, item number 2. We have a guest speaker for this month is Colleen Flanagan, who's the Engagement and Outreach Specialist from the City of Boston Mayor's Commission for Persons with Disabilities. She's joining us and she's going to speak about a great campaign and initiative called Boston Breaks. Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Ralph.
If you wanted to do a formal introduction to yourself, I am going to actually make sure, if you're on the bottom of your screen, do you have the share screen capabilities?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was there in case we have any technical glitches that it doesn't work for you. I have everything set up in the background to run your
Oh, sure. Do you want to just share the screen? It's up to you.
No, I'll let you. I'll have you control it so I don't do anything wrong. Fine.
Okay, I got you. Okay, well, before I share screen, my name is Colleen Flanagan, your neighbor in the city of Boston. I work as the Outreach and Engagement Specialist for the Boston Disabilities Commission. We have 8 people on our staff under the leadership of Commissioner Kristen McCosh. And my role is the Outreach and Engagement Specialist. So our advisory board, along with other advocates, brought to our attention that with the changing infrastructure, including bike lanes, they really wanted more awareness around the unique needs of people with disabilities, specifically pedestrians with disabilities. So because of their advocacy, we created Boston Breaks, which is a campaign to raise awareness about the unique needs of pedestrians with disabilities. And with that, I'm going to share my screen, throw it into slideshow mode. And on my screen, you can see the Boston Breaks logo, which is a bike, an icon of a bike, an icon of a pedestrian using a white cane, and an icon of a pedestrian using a wheelchair. It reads Boston Breaks, a campaign raising awareness of pedestrians with disabilities. That square thingy on the bottom right-hand side of your screen is a QR code. You can take your phone and go to the Boston Breaks website, and I'll also be sharing that at the end of the presentation. So, Boston Breaks. It's about sharing our space because people in Boston, it's important to respect each other's pace. Everybody moves at different speeds, and we want to make sure there's awareness to that. I'm going to play a 1-minute video that gives a quick description about Boston Breaks.
through the city of Boston is a great way to exercise, to do things, or to just get to where you're going. But navigating the streets isn't the same for everyone. People with disabilities face unique challenges, so it's important to remember to share the space, to be patient, respectful, and aware of those around you, and to help make Boston a city that's accessible, inclusive, and welcoming to people of all ages and abilities. As you travel through the city, do so in a safe and responsible way. The city is busy, and each situation is different. But remember to always give pedestrians the right of way. Obey traffic laws and pay attention to bike signage for your safety and the safety of others. Always use the designated bike lanes if possible and avoid riding on side roads. Remember, people with disabilities may not always see or hear you approaching and may not be able to get out of the way quickly. So always be prepared to yield, stop, and use caution. So next time you cycle through the city, be patient and aware of those around you and lead with inclusivity and kindness. Because on the streets of Boston, there's space for all of us.
That gives a little summary. And this video and all the videos I share can be found on Boston Breaks. I mean, on boston.gov, Boston-Breaks. Okay, some fun little facts for you. Did you know that there are about 80,000 residents living with a disability in Boston? That's about 12% of Boston residents that have one or more disabilities. And of course, that only includes people who identify as having a disability. We know there's a lot of stigma, and we know sometimes people do not identify. And it's also important to note that a lot of people come to visit Boston, and that wouldn't include them either. But so in Boston, we have a lot of changing infrastructure. As the city becomes a greener, healthier, more resilient city, traditional uses of sidewalk curb zones have shifted to meet sustainability goals. New elements are being added along the curb. These include bike lanes, outdoor dining, and EV charging stations, electric vehicle charging stations. So our goal with Boston Breaks, as we embrace changing infrastructure, is to raise awareness of and increase safety for pedestrians with disabilities on Boston's public rights of way, as our city embraces the changing infrastructure, like I just talked about. So I'm about to close soon with some safety tips I hope you can take away and share with your neighbors in the city of Revere, because these could apply to any town or city. So please be aware that many older people and people with mobility impairments may not be able to quickly step aside when a cyclist approaches. So if you are a cyclist, please be aware of that. And if you are a cyclist, please be aware that people who are blind or have low vision might not see a bicycle or an electric scooter coming toward them. So please be aware. And please be aware of those who are deaf or hard of hearing, that they won't necessarily be able to hear a bell or a horn or someone calling to move aside. And finally, please be aware that disability is not always visible. Many people have visual, hearing, sensory, cognitive, and intellectual disabilities that are not obvious. We want to make sure everybody is aware of that, especially cyclists. Okay, and the last part of this presentation includes some short little videos that are done animation style to teach some of these safety tips. So I'm going to play the first one now, which is about yielding at crosswalks.
Yield at curb ramps and crosswalks. When approaching a crosswalk with a curb ramp, always leave the curb cut open for pedestrians. People with disabilities need access to ramps to safely transition off the sidewalk. Those with visual disabilities rely on the yellow, bumpy surface to know they're about to enter the crosswalk.
So that's just a snippet that we're using on social media and to share the message that yielding at crosswalks is very important and a need of people with disabilities. Another Boston Break safety tip is to respect the white cane law. Let me play that video for you now.
White cane law. When you see a pedestrian walking with a white cane, this indicates that the user is blind or visually impaired. You must come to a complete stop and allow them to safely cross the street.
That's bringing awareness to the white cane law. I'm going to make sure that cyclists understand that. Oh, there we go. The next safety tip is about parking your bike. Make sure you park your bike in a designated area. This video will explain more.
Bike parking. When parking your bike, leave at least 4 feet for pedestrians to get by. Never block sidewalks, curb ramps, crosswalks, or accessible parking spaces. Poles that designate accessible parking may not be used to lock your bike.
And that was our final safety tip. This is just a reminder in closing that whatever your wheels, remember to yield and to share the space. Now on the screen is my contact information. What should be on the screen is the Boston Breaks website. I'm going to put that in the chat. And I can also copy any of this contact information in the chat. Very much appreciate your invitation to talk about Boston Breaks and what we're doing in Boston to try to keep the space safe. Thank you, Ralph.
Colleen, I really appreciate you coming in such short notice. I meant to call you last time. We discussed this a couple of months ago at one of our, you brought it up at one of our CODA monthly meetings. I was very interested in this. And like I mentioned to you, I sent an email to our administration. This is something that is very, very, very near and dear to a few of us on our commission, and we've been discussing a lot of this. And there's not only the issue with the bikes, and I'm sure you see it in Boston with these mobile scooters, the electronic scooters, and there's a big concern with people riding their scooters on the sidewalk, not even in the bike lanes. So I'm wondering if you have encountered any of that, or your commission has encountered any of that in Boston, and if you have any suggestions about that.
Well, that was one of the reasons we highlighted to avoid riding on sidewalks. It's a safety tip that's in the longer video. Because, you know, obviously that is dangerous. We encourage people that move at different speeds to kind of be in lanes, lack of a better word.
Right.
Yeah, I want to put the website in the chat, but I don't think I have a chat option.
There should be, because we're at a webinar.
Oh yeah,
It's set as a webinar, so there is not, there's not a chat function in it. But what we can do is I'll add it to my notes. Is it a website? Is it www.bostonbreaks.org?
it's boston.gov/Boston-breaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pauline, you have that, right? All right. I'm sure I think I have the link saved anyway,
Sure.
because that's how I watched it before anyway.
Yeah.
Before I contacted you after the last time you spoke about it. So I'm pretty sure I have the website link.
Yeah, and on that website you can find every single video, including the longer videos. And please share them. Yeah.
The videos, were they hyperlinked to a YouTube channel? Are they hyperlinked to? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. That's right, yeah, because I couldn't remember because I did it, like I said, 2 months ago, I think, when we originally discussed it at the CODA meeting. So there's that. I'm going to open it up to a few of my commission members that are here to see if they have any questions, and see if they have any input or any questions for you. So take it away, my commission members that are here. Just to let you know, Colleen, as you've seen, Colleen was featured in the video, but she does a lot more than this. She's very involved with the City of Boston Commission on Disabilities. I think it's been, I think you came on in the middle of CODA. I mean, the middle of COVID, and started, and I, yeah, it's been like 2 years now, but she's very involved, and she's a book of information. She's a good resource for information. You're just on mute, Pauline. Let's see if I can do it for you.
It should be unmuted now.
Yep.
Okay, it's gonna keep doing that. I have a question about, how am I gonna word this? If someone encounters a problem, like a persistent problem with one specific area in Boston, let's just take crossroads of Boylston and Tremont, that there's a consistent problem with bikes just, speeding down, people can't cross the street, people in wheelchairs are being blocked, whatever. Who takes care of, getting that complaint and acting on it to try to, render those areas safer and less caustic, I guess, for lack of a better word, to these people that are, whether they're in a wheelchair or using the white cane or crutches or whatever the reason, what division handles those complaints? Do you get those, Colleen, and then you field them from there? And how does that work?
Yeah, no, usually people will use 311.
Okay.
And they can call on the phone, they can use the app, and that's typically how reports like that would come to the city.
Mm-hmm.
If it had to do with the accessibility of the city, it would come to our office, but typically, the departments can, handle complaints.
Okay, thank you. I know that there's been a lot of discussion about, if we encounter this, who do we call? So I guess that's a good point to really hone in on, is that there are, you can use the 311 whether you're here, and I know that we do have 311 in Revere as well. But just so that those people know that there is a channel that they can go through to, to see some solution or see some problems rectified if need be. Thank you. It was very informative. I enjoyed the videos a lot. I can't wait to go on and watch the whole thing.
As a follow-up to that, Pauline, too, I do get calls in Revere for that, and I do forward them to the 311 so that they can go to the appropriate departments. A lot of people think that the Commission on Disabilities has authority, and I'm sure Colleen will second this. We don't have any official authority. We're as a resource and almost like a liaison, and we try and make sure things get done with the right departments when there's issues or whatnot. So that's what we do. We don't have any authority or jurisdictions for laws and whatnot, but we can let people know where they have to go for issues like that. So if somebody does call us, I'm sure when they do call Colleen or the Boston Commission on Disabilities, we can ourselves put it into a 311 ticket, or we try to tell them to call the 311, because what happens is if they call 311 directly, they also get a ticket number, and they'll also get a follow-up on it to know that something is taken care of. Whereas if I put it in myself, yeah, I could get a follow-up, but it's more beneficial if the person puts it in themselves, and then they'll get the follow-up on it, because sometimes I do get a lot of different things, because we don't have a full-fledged Commission on Disabilities department
Right.
here in Revere. Boston, it might be it's a little bit different. But this way, I always try telling people to call 301. This way they do get follow-up and a ticket made for problems like that. Hopefully I wasn't overstepping anything, Colleen, for how Boston does things, but I'm pretty sure.
At all, and good point about how when you make a 311 call, you get a ticket and can track it. So yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
Anyone else from our commission have any questions or want to comment? Jason, or Mario or anything?
I think that was a pretty good video, like very useful. It kind of brings a little awareness, like
Yeah.
so,
The
I think there should be, I think there should honestly be a requirement, even if it's online. I think drivers that drive cars, bikes, everybody, every so often should be required to have to check that off and actually watch it. Because most people actually, believe it or not, don't even know what half the laws mean, believe it or not, or don't even pay attention. I mean, if you bring it up and people are like, what's that law? Or what's that about? They literally, people don't even read. I mean, people don't even read the manual. I mean, to be straight up and honest with you, just to let you know, Colleen, I work for the state, so that's why I'm making that comment. I work for the Registry of Motor Vehicles, unfortunately, so I make comments like that. So you'll find there's just not enough done out there. I don't know. Blind folks are pretty much targets, just like the ones in wheelchairs, just like that lady that was hit. Unfortunately, there isn't much you can do. I mean, we're doing the best we can.
It's almost, it should be a requirement that if you get a moving violation or a speeding ticket, here you go. You have to do some community service, watch this video, take a test after, or
Yeah.
something
Yep.
like that. But you have to, of course, you need somebody to back that in the legislature to do something like that, which would be great. My other quick question to Colleen is, now I do know, but I wanted you to share how you became involved in this program and initiative, what would be the best way for Revere to try and start an initiative like this?
So
It started in San Francisco, right? It's originally in the West Coast, one of these programs.
It could have, but there's a bunch of ways it came actually, because there was a very strong advocate. Some of you may know him, named David Rivera. He unfortunately he was blind, low vision, and from Boston, passed away a couple of years ago. But in his final years, he was advocating for more awareness around pedestrian safety. Our board members then kind of carried that message on. And I do believe that other cities are starting to raise awareness because it's just needed. So how can your board really get involved? I guess just really hone in on what are the issues you want to bring attention to, because that's kind of how Boston Breaks got born, was they brought attention to the issue that there needed to be more awareness around pedestrian safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. That anyone else have any more comments for Colleen? Like I said, she's a tremendous resource for a lot of different things besides Boston Breaks. So if anyone has any questions or concerns, I highly recommend you reach out to her.
Yeah, please do share my contact information, and thank you so much for great questions. And
Colleen, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was very interesting.
Okay. You're welcome to join. Yep. We're gonna move on to item number 3 is updates, next steps from the August meeting. As you've seen from the agenda that I put, it's a little bit wordy, but I'm going to go through it as quick as I can. This way, if anybody has any questions, there was a follow-up on motions made and approved at the August Commission of Disabilities meeting to send letters regarding bills S446 and H7690. Both bills are identical in both the House and the Senate, to support an act expanding access to trails for people with all abilities. So the motion was passed by this commission at the last meeting and second. So a letter sent on behalf of the Revere Commission of Disabilities was sent to the Unpaved Trails for All, showing our support of bills S446 and H7690 to include in their package that they will submit to the Joint Committee on Environment and Natural Resources at the State House. We also sent our own independent letters on behalf of the Revere Commission of Disabilities to both the chair and co-chair of the joint committees on the environment and natural resources. If anyone wants the commission, I can supply you their exact names and those letters. Or if anyone else that wants them, I'd be more than willing to email that to them. So I have those letters. Secondly, we had made another part to that motion was letters. Letters was sent on behalf of the Revere Commission of Disabilities to the Revere State Delegation. So letters were sent to Representative Jeff Turco, Representative Jessica Janino, and Senator Lydia Edwards to ask for support for bills S446 and H7690. I can also send copies of those letters if anyone wants those in the commission, and receive responses back that they were going to be supporting those, which is great. Lastly, there was a motion, second motion to send a letter sent on behalf of the Revere Commission of Disabilities to the Revere City Council President Pro Tempo via the City Clerk's Office to support, sign, and send a resolution in support of an act expanding access trails for people of all abilities, which were the same bill S446 and H760, to the Joint Committee on Environment, Natural Resources at State House on behalf of the city of Revere and its residents, especially the disabled. I can also supply that letter. I did unfortunately receive a email back that this could not be sent to the city council because it is out of their realm, which I still don't understand. The answer was because we don't have any trails in Revere, and my response was, well, we do have disabled residents in Revere that do want to access trails within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So it did not get to go to the council to ask for a resolution. So the letter was not brought before the council. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. So you did not know, so it didn't go that I did not send it, and I do have the letter. So I didn't know before I
Rob,
move
I was
on.
wondering, can I send it as a individual, not like a person who represents an organization? Or no?
You're more than welcome to do that too, but my answer is because it's not in the realm of the Revere City Council, and we don't have trails, but I've seen so many, and this is not this would not be a feel-good motion or a feel-good resolution. This is on behalf of all people with disabilities in Revere that want to access trails within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It does not have to be trails in Revere. So this is acting on behalf of disabled residents and non-disabled residents in Revere that want to access the trails that are unpaved within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
You know what, can
Awesome.
you send me those letters, because I'll send them in person, because I agree. This doesn't make sense, and we should send it to them anyways.
I think someone who made that comment, I think, is obviously, and I'm going to say this nicely, lacking common sense, but that's okay.
I can send you, like I said, I will email all the letters to, all the letters that I sent to the chair and the co-chair of the joint committee, a copy of the letters that I sent to the Senate and to the city council for you guys to all read and take a look at.
Thank you.
Everything was sent on behalf of the Commission on Disabilities.
Was that from the president of the city council that told you that?
No,
I would talk to the president yourself.
it was the letter was written to the president, but it has to do anything that goes to the president. It has to go through the clerk's office. You don't send them directly.
And that means somebody in the clerk's office isn't to, and I'm just saying this, I would go around. Normally, I don't advocate doing that. But in a situation like this, when you have somebody that lacks common sense and just made up comment without even thinking about what they're saying, just something that I would look at going around the normal. And I know what you mean. It's just sometimes you just have to, when people don't use common sense, you got to go the other way. You know, it's like one of our colleagues, she sent something directly to the governor and got a response. If she went the normal way, probably wouldn't have made it up there. That's how she got to where she is. Yeah. So sometimes you just have to go around the truth.
That was the first part of follow-up from that. Also, any updates from Pauline regarding the calendar for future monthly guest speakers?
I am still working on the MBTA police because they have not gotten back to me. And now that tonight's the meet the teacher up at the high school, so I'm going to meet with Dr. Galucci. I want to see what they're doing as far as their therapy dogs and what organization they use to see if we can get an offshoot of them.
Okay.
And unfortunately, my last lead that just did not pan out. And then eventually I would also like to have the fire chief to come in and do a little bit about wintertime fire safety, as far as, making sure that your vents are open, not blocked out, the
Okay.
washers and dryers and that stuff. So I'll also reach out to him, get him on board.
And like I
Um,
mentioned, I possibly have someone for October, so I'll get confirmation on that, hopefully within the next week, and let you know.
Okay, great. Before we go any further, I have a question if we can just backtrack on this whole trail thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm really intrigued by this. What would happen if the letter wasn't sent in the form of, let's say the letter was sent in the form of, we would like to create an accessible trail here in Revere. I'm just thinking of other areas that have trails that they have created, not that are naturally there through the woods, but that have been created as offshoots of other things. Specifically, the rail trail in Natick, which was taken apart. It was an old railroad track that was taken apart and revamped into a rail trail that is thoroughly accessible for everybody, complete with water bubblers and benches, etc., with everything. And it's a really nice way to get out and just enjoy nature.
Mhm.
Don't we have here in Revere some old railroad tracks that perhaps go in back of maybe like Jack Satter House, the trail, the rails that go all the way in back of 190 North Shore Road or up to leading that way? What would happen if we tried to create
The
the trail?
the problem that's different. That's a private entity, whereas this is for trails that are not that are overseen by the state.
Okay,
That's what this is.
but could there be any overlap at any time, or it has to specifically be?
Yeah, because these bills deal with municipally.
Just the,
Yeah, the state owns trails.
that's too bad.
Yeah, is what I'm gathering on this, because they want to create an oversight committee, figure
Right.
out funds and things like that.
Right, and I can understand that, and
the
I
one in
appreciate
Natick,
that.
is the one in Natick, is that privately owned?
No, I don't believe so. I don't really know. It's just, I know that it's been in the development, and it's finally been finished, and it goes all the way. I don't even really know where it starts. I've only walked bits and pieces of it, but it goes all the way over in back of the Home Depot, which is at the corner of Route 30. So that's Wayland and Natick. So, I mean, it's a long trail, and you can go as far or as short as you want. And there's parking along the way, so you can like hop on and hop off it as needed. But it's interesting to see that other towns
This may
are
be a
able
question.
to
This may be a
create these
question.
things.
Yeah, this may be a question that we might want to reach out to Meg Indera
Yeah,
Trails.
I was thinking about that because I did get a chance to walk it, and it is a lovely trail, and it's also extremely accessible.
You still have her
And-
contact information, correct?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, this might be something that we may want to reach out to her about.
Yeah, I would like to, just to see, what her take on it is, and how, potentially, I mean, they did make the track down at Suffolk Downs. So, but again, who owns the track?
Private entity. It's a private
That's
entity.
private. Right.
It's a private entity.
But I mean, there are areas that could be tapped upon. And now I don't know if it's conservation, that there's all kinds of different questions that could possibly come up, but that's the one that I was thinking of. So thank you. You may proceed.
No problem at all. So what I'm gonna do, so the next thing on it was the third Doug, so we're gonna skip over that. Item number 4 was the CPAC September, November events. Unfortunately, Robert did not give me any information. So I don't have anything on that. So I'm going to have to just skip over that. Item number 5 is the Coda Commission on Disabilities Alliance monthly Zoom meeting on Wednesday, September 6th. This one, Pauline, you don't have to write any notes
Okay.
down on this one, because I already have it in a document for
Got it.
you, in a Word document to send, so I'm gonna read it off. The meeting from December 6th, there were several items. The first was the Disability Policy Consortium, DPC, who helped facilitate our monthly CODA meeting, talked about legislative hearing updates that will be coming up this month. The first one was scheduled for last Thursday, September 7th. Was the first in a series of hearings on upcoming legislation to allowing judges to leverage institutional confinement. DPC, which is the Disability Policy Consortium, strongly opposes this. They were still accepting written testimony. Secondly, there was going to be another hearing on fighting healthcare discrimination hearing on September 20th. This predates COVID-19, but came about largely because of it. A little background on it: if you had to sign a DNR or mistreated, DPC would love you to provide testimony. You can contact them directly at dpcma.org, all lowercase, dpcma.org, or contacting them at 617-307-7775. Next, the Somerville Associate Commissioner had questions regarding legal status, duties, and powers on CODs, which are Commission on Disabilities. What the Associate Commissioner for Somerville says, it seems like right now we are more of an advisory role, no authority to offer license permits, etc. The city of Somerville is offering accessibility training to firefighters, but they did not consult the Commission on Disabilities in Somerville for input. And Rachel Tanner from the Cambridge COD mentioned that when they interview people that come on the board member for this COD, they make it clear that they are an advisory board without legal authority. And she also said that we have folks here for a reason. Nothing about us without us is what they use for their motto. Basically, what I mentioned when we were talking to Colleen, Commission on Disabilities don't have any official authority or can do any laws. We're like almost like an advisory and resource for people. That's what the Commission on Disabilities is basically here for. Is we can give people resources on who they can contact for that matter, but we do not have any official capacities for when it comes to licensing, laws, permits, or anything like that. And this was also reiterated by members of commissions from other cities and towns. Then there were discussions and questions regarding parks and recreations. The COD member that was there from Arlington spoke about Minuteman Bike Path that goes through the town. She is a trike user, but she mentioned that she can't get her trike to the path without going through traffic. The recent move for Arlington's EDA coordinator is to get a bike track shelter installed. Similar measures have been done in other cities like Bedford, South Acton. That's one of the biggest hurdles for people with trikes and that want to use trikes as a shelter to if they want to rent a trike. As I'll mention, the next thing is there's new trike companies popping up in different places that have a lot of great initiatives, and some private companies are making this available. But like I said, the problem is we're a shelter. When a person that wants to use a trike, if they are a person with mobility issues and they have an electric scooter or an electric wheelchair, where are they going to store that? You're not going to put a very expensive electric wheelchair or scooter and just leave it someplace not locked up and go on to a trike that has cumbersome pedals by hand or whatnot, and then hope that when you come back, your electric scooter or wheelchair is there. They need some type of shelters, lockable shelters that these can be put in, not only for safety, for also to keep them out of the elements. So that's a question and concern that a lot of people are asking for things of that. And that's one thing that that I've been talking about, and I think I mentioned it in meetings before. Be great if we could have trikes down Revere Beach, but we would also need DCR to come up with a plan for almost like a cage shelter for their people with electric wheelchairs or electric scooters or any type of mobility that they use to be able to lock in a safe environment, because not everybody will be coming down there with a van and be able to put their equipment or accessibility apparatus inside that vehicle. So that's an issue. So there's confusion whether available resources are either bikes or trikes. When a lot of these private companies are available, they don't differentiate between bikes and trikes, and that needs to be made clear, because a lot of people with mobility issues would like to know if they're trikes, because trikes are a necessity for people with mobility issues. You can't just go on a bike. A lot of people can't go on a trike, but there are people that can go on a trike, and it'd be very beneficial to them. So as I mentioned, it brings up another issue of storage related to storage of wheelchairs and other mobility equipment that people use, especially for people who use beach wheelchairs. When you go to the beach, and if any of the beaches, we're trying to see if we can get them at Revere Beach, but if you're going to go use a beach wheelchair, if they're there, what are you going to do with your mobile electronic wheelchair? You need someplace to be able to lock that up. What are you going to do when you go back to bring the beach wheelchair back with your companion, and your electronic wheelchair, scooter, or whatever you have is not there? It needs to be safe. So that brings up issues with that. The last thing that was discussed, COD members discussed issues with lack of accessibility in design of new parks. Example, wood chips on paths and play areas. Unfortunately, the ADA regulations say it is acceptable, but the Architectural Access Board, AAB, does not. The Architectural Access Board is unique. It is a board in Massachusetts. It's not federal. Architectural ADA is federal, but because we have the Architectural Access Board, it is more stringent and a stronger regulations. So what happens is when whatever regulation is stronger, that's the regulation that you're supposed to abide by for regulation and determination for accessibility. So that should take precedence in any situation. So even though the ADA regulations say that wood chips are acceptable, the Architectural Access Board says they are not. So they should not be used in parks, playgrounds, even in walkways to parks, because anybody that knows wood chips do sink. They're not stable for wheelchairs, for people with vision impairments, because they move. They're not a stable structure to walk on. So that's a big issue. So those are the things that came up during the monthly CODA meeting. So I don't know if anybody has any input, questions, concerns about any of those that I mentioned. I know I rambled for a little bit, but I just like to keep everybody updated on what goes on in those meetings.
I'm just surprised which ships are just legal in general in ADA. I'm just shocked.
Yeah, ADA has never updated that. And, you know, they should not be, they should not be acceptable.
You should,
So
you should
that's,
tell them that because
well,
you're one of,
they've been told, but the thing with the ADA, that's why we have the AAB in Massachusetts. So
Right.
since we have the AAB in Massachusetts, it's a stronger law and regulation. That's what we need to abide by.
Well, we need more, they need some more control in terms of, I mean, even like where I'm living now, one door opens, but they don't all open. Like I've gone some places and if you hit the button, both doors open. This one, it doesn't do it like that. And also just like even accessing the entrances, like trying to get over the humps, things like that, just simple things.
Yeah,
need to be fixed.
the thresholds are supposed to be a certain height and certain distance. And the thing is, if that building we got federal funds, then they're not meeting the AAB regulations.
Yeah, it's just,
not
I mean,
So for Title II. Any building, any for Title II, Title III is not meeting the AAB standards in the fair housing fair housing laws.
well, then they got some real surprises then, because some people in this building still get to use PACE. They don't normally take it now, but they're accepting PACE funds, which are a federal fund.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It boggles my mind. And when people think it's acceptable, you know, if I showed you the access for my shower is just an example, just simple as that, is a cutout, 10-inch cutout. That's what they did. They took a tub and cut it out. It's like, really? This is, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Where are people's brains? I question that, but I don't know. Just like wood chips. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyone else have any comments or input or questions? Seeing none, I will move on to item number 6 is commission members, late items and information. I have one late item that I would like to bring up. October is National Disabilities Employment Awareness Month. Due to that, the Massachusetts Commissions on Status of Persons with Disabilities is going to be hosting their inaugural National Disabilities Employment Awareness Month celebration on Thursday, October 5th at 11 a.m. in the General Hall of Flags located in the Massachusetts State House. A little bit of some background information. This commission here in Massachusetts is a 23-member independent state agency, which was established in 2020 in the 2020 law under Chapter 3, Section 74 of Mass General Laws as part of the law enforcement reform legislation to help advocate for all persons with disabilities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. On the federal level, the agency is called the Permanent Commission on the Status of Persons with Disabilities. So just wanted to give some people a little bit of information on that, and just to let everybody be aware that October is National Disabilities Awareness Month. Anyone else have any late items that they did not submit to me that I need you guys to start submitting to me? Girls and everyone. Nobody likes submitting anything to the agenda. So it looks like, you know, I don't want everybody to think that it's me that's putting everything into the agenda.
No. Are we doing anything at City Hall?
Such as?
Well, is anything, is there going to be any kind of like an infomercial or a bulletin board or anything about October being National Disabilities Employment Awareness?
We could ask them.
I think we should.
Perfect.
There we go.
Okay.
You know, it's just visibility, viability, out there-ness, in your face-ness, whatever you want to call it. Being bold and obnoxious, I don't care. I mean, I think that We
I
should
will send
ask, can
communication.
we
I
do
will send
something?
communication to, I will send communication tomorrow asking for that. If it can be screened on the TVs through City Hall.
Yep.
We do have electronic TVs inside City Hall now,
Mhm.
on the floors, to see if we can do something like that.
I think that's a great idea.
It's a great suggestion. Thank you. See, that's
Thank
why I need input.
Yeah, well, we also need input to warn that the slow zones still exist. So the T needs to stop saying that they don't exist because they were not fixed. They also took away the commuter rail function for some of the, setups when they basically lied to our face. So just to put it out there for warn anybody that's taking the T.
Yeah, I
There's-
know. I've got
Speaking
three.
of, there's an RTAG meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
Is it
What
tomorrow?
time? What time?
Give me 1 second and I will let you know.
Just like the T isn't really accessible as they claim. I
So-
found that the hard way. I found that out the hard way because they don't put them. They're not level to the platform, and then there's not always somebody available to put the plates on.
3 p.m. There's a general Zoom meeting for RTAG.
Okay, beautiful.
3 p.m. Zoom meeting.
And what is
Yeah,
that?
I'm a book of information here.
Yeah. What is that? What is that group?
That's for the MBTA. It's RTAG is like it's almost like, Ellie, you want to give a better explanation for RTAG?
RTAG is like a group of people that give direct feedback to the MBTA and people like Colleen to improve the MBTA for people with disabilities.
Yeah, I guess they actually listened to it. I did in Atlanta too. They didn't really want to hear us. Yeah.
But these guys do.
They
They
do.
Yeah, they do. They've
under the
taken a lot of
MBTA.
suggestions. They've reached out to me before after
Yeah.
meetings.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure they do. I'm saying I wonder if the T even wants to really hear.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I meant. I didn't mean the group. I meant the T. Because yeah.
Only update I have is the
It's
BCI.
Thursday, Al. It's Thursday, not tomorrow.
Oh, Thursday.
Thursday
Okay.
at 3:00. I'm losing track of what day it is. I
It's
had
okay.
a 5-hour meeting today with MOD and a 5-hour meeting tomorrow with MOD.
You and Pauline, you guys, I love you guys. You guys come on. Anyways, the only update I have is the BCIL is doing a what is it? Testimony to the State House for better wheelchair repairs. So if you know anyone that needs to testify or have like a chair that has not been fixed in like 6 months to a year, head them to Boston Center Independent Living because there is a hearing at the State House over Zoom or in person on September 20th. So I hope all of y'all who have a mobility device can testify via person, virtual, or send your testimony directly to the State House. Thank you.
If they could fix the length of time it takes to even get them. I mean, when I started to get mine, it takes 3 to 6 months. I mean, that's just on the low end, and that's provided that everything goes correctly. So it's kind of depressing.
Yeah, so Jason, you
Yes.
should go and hit up Boston Center Independent. Boston Center Independent Living. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, BCIL.
Yeah, because I know it's insurance, and people don't want to pay, and there's no money in it. That's what they claim, of course.
No, it's even worse. Now they don't have parts from America. Everything's shipped from China or other countries. So there's our working force.
Oh God. Does that depend on the brand?
Nope, everyone's doing it.
Oh God. Yeah, they offered me the Jazz, so I'm hoping it's not going to be one of those major issues off the front, but we'll find out.
Cross your fingers and hit
Hope
up.
it all works.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone else have anything else they want to add? Okay, next is residents' concerns and issues. I don't have any that came in and just want to mention again, as always, that if anyone is looking to receive handicap placards, those are done through the Registry of Motor Vehicles. The applications are you can get from them. You can get them online at the RMV. They're not given out by city or towns in Massachusetts. Only through the Registry of Motor Vehicles is where you can get the application for them.
And you cannot get both a placard and a plate. You
Nope.
need to decide which you want, and it's one or the other. You cannot have both. There are, you know, some rare exceptions, but generally the rule is no, one or the other.
And if you have a placard and it expires, they will send you the new one before.
Yes.
If everything is in good standings, you will receive the new one in time before it expires.
Unless you have a temporary, then you have to renew it. We do not do that for you. That is the.
Do they have the color code still for which one's temporary and which one's not, or do they just write the words temporary?
No, they have it's different colors. We know what they are when you look at them. We can tell someone if they don't know, but we tell them the colors, and then if they look at the colors, then they know. It's just that they don't pay attention. Yeah.
You know?
I forgot off the top of my head. I think black is permanent.
Yeah, and red is the temporary.
Right. So it's every 5 years for the black ones, and they just have to make sure they follow through on it. And a lot of times people don't, when their renewals for the temporaries don't get completed. But if people would send in the stuff, I would just highly recommend, since you're sending it to a PO box, and it's basically a mail drop. So if you're sending that, make sure you send it with some sort of tracking. I mean, there is a workaround. Technically, you could go down to Blackstone Street and drop it off, but I would highly suggest not doing that, just because it becomes a mess down there. So that's officially a state building. So I would highly suggest best to go, because state police actually control it. And so they're likely going to turn you away if you don't have an appointment. So I would just highly suggest, and especially right now with the new law in place, just send it, but just make sure you send it with tracking, because they usually are taken care of within 30 days. However, they could be on a backlog, and there's no way for us to officially look for it without calling the office directly internally. So, yeah.
Good to know.
Thank you, Jason.
No problem.
So the next step, Pauline, one thing that I know is I'm going to contact to see if we can get anything put up for the October
Yep, I gotcha.
National Disability Employee Awareness Month within City Hall. So I'll take care of doing that. I believe that's all we have for our next steps. Or did I forget anything? No, right?
No, but as soon as you have confirmation for October, let me know so that I can book November, December.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. That's it.
If you want to book November and December, go ahead and book it.
Okay. All right,
And
then I'll
if I
do
don't
those
have
two.
anybody for October, we will just skip October.
Okay.
We will do
Gotcha.
it that way. Item number 9 is our reminder, and I'll do you want me to read it, Pauline, or you think your internet will be all right?
I'll go for it because I can't guarantee anything.
Okay. All set.
All right, ready?
Yep.
The Commission on Disabilities office number is 781-286-8267. Residents can also call Revere 311 directly and speak to their staff Monday through Friday. They will be able to answer most questions, but if they are unable to, or if you would like a call back from our department, please ask to be transferred to the Disabilities office's voicemail, and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. As always, please let us know if you would like something discussed or brought up and added to our monthly meeting agenda. You can let us know if you would like to speak on any issue or concern. The Commission is here to help and assist all of the disabled residents and families of Revere.
Okay, thank you. And now I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
And our next meeting via Zoom will be Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Just wanted to remind everyone to make sure you get out and vote. Our primary is September 17th. Am I saying that date correctly?
Is it 17th or 16th?
It's the Tuesday, 19th, sorry. My dates are Tuesday, September 19th. Early voting had started last Saturday. And early voting is open right now at City Hall. But the state primary, the city primary is Tuesday, September 19th. If you're not sure where your polling location is, please reach out to the elections department at Revere City Hall, and they will be more than glad to let you know where you would need to go and vote. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.